What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with another video. And there's been a lot of recent rumors regarding the High Republic era for Star Wars. And it looks like we're going to be getting some live action content sooner rather than later for this era. And there's been so much in terms of comics and in terms of books, but I think the next leg is going to be some live action content. And will that eventually mean some vintage collection figures? Let's hope so. Let's hope so. But there's already been some pretty firm rumors that have been covered by a number of websites, so I wanted to go through that. Before I start, let me say thank you to all my Patreon supporters and to all my existing subscribers. You guys allow the channel to grow more. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I try to cover lots of interesting information, and I encourage you to subscribe. First, before we dig into the High Republic era, let's talk about timing for a lot of the other Star Wars Disney Plus content. Apparently, The Mandalorian Season 3, you'll have to excuse me, I'm a little bit sick today. Apparently, The Mandalorian Season 3 is in the midst of shooting, and it looks like they're going to finish up the shooting for The Mandalorian Season 3 by the end of next month, by the end of March. And Ahsoka is then expected to start filming right after that. So they're going back to back to back on all these different shows. Obviously, we know in May we have the Obi-Wan series coming to Disney Plus, so that's going to be really exciting. There's another series called The Acolyte that's going to start filming overseas this summer. Andor Season 1, about Cassian Andor's adventures before Rogue One. Season 1's already been filmed, apparently. They're already going to do Season 2 filming this coming fall. So apparently the higher ups at Disney watched Andor Season 1, kind of early rough draft of the episodes, and have already greenlit Season 2. And I'm not surprised by that. Based on everything I've read and some of the teaser trailers and kind of the making of, I wasn't that excited about Andor. I didn't think it was going to be that good. But then after I saw all that information and all the level of detail that they're going into for making Andor, I'm more excited about Andor than probably anything other than maybe Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's got Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen coming back, so I'm really excited about that miniseries. But Andor is right behind it. I mean, Andor, I hope, lives up to what I see in terms of the production quality. They are really going all out, and hopefully it will wash out the nasty taste in my mouth from the majority of the Book of Boba Fett. It was just not that great. But now that we have kind of that timeline in place, they are already apparently starting to cast and begin the early pre-production process for a High Republic era series. Now, the High Republic takes place roughly 250 years before the Phantom Menace. It's kind of basically viewed as the height of the Galactic Republic, and you know, the height in terms of power and in terms of like unity across all the different planets. And we've had three books so far that I've read all three of them, and they're pretty good. It took me a little while to warm up to them, but now I actually really like the characters so far. Obviously, there's a comic book series, and we're going to go over some of those key comics here shortly because they are spiking big time in price already. And it's only going to go up from here depending on what happens with the High Republic era. We also know there's a video game called Eclipse that's in development. That's probably not going to be done for at least a couple of years. But Phase 1 is already done, and that's kind of the publishing front that included the comics and the books. But now they're already kind of pushing into live-action content. Apparently, the live-action content is going to be viewed as Stranger Things in space. And if you guys ever watch Stranger Things, this is kind of the main characters in Stranger Things. They're basically going to kind of use a younger cast and bring out a lot of the monster aspects that are in the books. There's the Drangir, the plant-based monster. There is also another force blocking alien kind of monster that has been in the books. I don't want to spoil too much of it. You also have the Drangir, you also have the Nihil, which are like a space pirate group that does terroristic kind of activities. So there's lots of different really cool villains, and there's also a Sith Lord that has come up in the books. So we'll go over him in a second and which comic book to get if you're interested in the Sith that made his first appearance in the High Republic era. Just a ton of different villains, but it seems like, at least for the initial live action content, it's going to be focused on younger adults, a show focused on teens, Stranger Things in space. So my guess is it's probably going to focus on that force blocking monster that has really made its biggest appearance in the latest book, The Fallen Star, which covers the the explosion of Starlight Beacon, which is like the Jedi's headquarters, and there's like a monster that's involved in that book. So anyway, I do find it interesting that they're going kind of the young adult route with this first live action show, but that's what apparently they're going to be doing. And does that lead to really big kind of cultural crossover into the mainstream? Probably not. Probably not. But that's what they're aiming for. And Stranger Things, the show Stranger Things, certainly has made that crossover, because it's an excellent show. At least season 1 was. I kind of got disinterested in season 2. I've heard that season 3 is better, but I haven't made it that far. But season 1 was pretty awesome for Stranger Things. And if it approaches anywhere close to the success of Stranger Things with this new show, then it will cross over into the mainstream. So I hope it does. We'll see. But I am shocked by hearing that they've already greenlit a season 2 for Cassian Andor's show. It's pretty awesome. And there are a number of different comic books related to the High Republic era. Obviously, that line of comics started last year, 2021, early 2021. So it's only, a little over a year old between the High Republic comic series, and there's also a second comic series called The High Republic Adventures. And I wanted to go through some of those key books. All of these prices are in a CGC 9.8 grade, so these are graded comics. You can get a lot of these for really cheap, raw, if you don't want to pay graded prices, or go lower grades. But I think if you're going to buy graded books, these are so new that you almost need to get them in a 9.8, okay? But you don't have to buy graded books. I mean, a lot of people don't collect graded comics. But if you just want to read them, you can get a lot of these for cover price or not too far above that. Some of these exclusive covers, like this Hans cover, you're going to pay a little bit more for. But this is one that I really like. This is High Republic #1. And High Republic #1 is the first comic that came out in the series, obviously. And it's listed March 2021. It's really January 2021, I believe, is when that comic came out on the label. But this is the Hans cover, Stephanie Hans cover. This has got Avar Kriss as well as Yoda on the cover. Now, Avar Kriss is the only one, her first appearance was not in the High Republic. Her first cameo was in Kylo Ren #3. So you can get it if you're interested in getting her first appearance. Now, she's one of the major characters. She will be one of the kind of the triumvirate of characters. There's Stellan Gios, there's Avar Kriss, as you see her here, and then there's Elzar Mann. Those are kind of the 3 big heroes within the Jedi. There are certainly others, but those are the 3 big ones. There's also Keith Trennis and Skier. They have big appearances or big roles within the comics, but at least within the novels, those are the trio that will probably be the main characters within the Disney Plus show. So if you want Avar Kriss's first cameo, that's in Kylo Ren #3, but the first full appearance for most of the main protagonists are going to be High Republic #1 in terms of the heroes. And this is my favorite cover. There's like four or five different printings, and there's a bunch of different covers. There's some that are more expensive than this. There's some that are less expensive than this. So you got lots of different price ranges. And obviously there's going to be a ton of these on the census. So it's debatable whether these will approach like pretty huge stratospheric sales prices. I don't know, but they are moving up. They are moving up. I mean, I bought this book about, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago. I actually picked up 2 of these. I picked up both of these for between $80 and $90. And this one sold for $124 plus shipping. And this one sold for $188 plus shipping. So it seems like, that's moved up. And we're talking like between 50 and 100% of price appreciation in 6 months already for this book. I do think that a realistic market price right now for this book is about $110 to $120. You might get lucky and get it for less than an auction. This $188 number, I think a lot of that is a function of price conversion, because this was over in the UK, and the UK doesn't get as many CGC graded comics over there just because of the shipping costs to and from CGC. It's a lot more risk for damage because CGC packs their books like garbage when you send stuff in for grading. So people in the UK do have to pay quite a bit more for graded comics, and I think that's between that and the currency conversion. That's why this one sold for $188. But I think, do I think we can get here for this book? Easily, if that Disney Plus content starts rolling out and is popular. So I would get this book now. This is my favorite cover, but there's certainly more expensive covers like the Villanelli cover. I don't know how to pronounce it. That is an homage to Clone Wars #1. That can go for $600. But for me, I think for the reasonably priced range of High Republic #1s, this is my favorite cover, Han's #1, the Stephanie Hans cover. Here's another cover. This is kind of the standard, cover A, the most prolific and common. The first print, there's also a 5th print that is a black and white of this exact same photo, but just the sabers are colored. That one's gone up quite a bit too. This one sold for $108. $108. This is the first print. Just sold on February 23rd, yesterday. 44 bids. So the market's already acknowledging that these rumors for this young adult focused live action show are going to happen, because I bought my copy for like $60 shipped, and now it's selling for $108 plus $5 shipping, so about $110, $115 now. So it's almost doubled in price just in the last 6 months. So I do think that this one's good. This one's got a really, really high number of 9.8s on the census, so it's really common. So that's why I think for the price difference, this one's 108. The Hans cover you can pick up for probably 110 to 120. This is a much better cover, in my opinion, a much better cover. So I would get that one if I were going to get that one. But anyway, this one sold for 108. This one sold for 117 on free shipping. So that gives you a price range for that cover. And this is by no means a bad cover. I'm not trying to say it's not a good cover, because it's got Skier, the Transdoshan Jedi. It has Keith Trennis in the middle, and then it has Avar Kriss. And all three of those most likely will be in the live-action show. Certainly Avar Kriss will. I would imagine Keith Trennis will, because she's younger. She's a Jedi Padawan. And Stellan Gios and Elzar Mann absolutely will. So this is not a bad cover to have. It's just so plentiful. I mean, there's probably 1,000 CGC 9.8s for the first print of this book on the census. So I would lean towards getting the Hans cover only because of scarcity. Let's start digging in now to a few other later issues for the High Republic, and then we'll go into the High Republic Adventures, which is a separate line by IDW. High Republic is Marvel. So this is High Republic #3, but this is the Will Sliney Virgin Wanted Comics edition. Now, what makes this is unique is that it's, #1, it's got a limited print number. It's very, very limited in print number. There's a trade dress version with High Republic, stamped on the top, or the Virgin. I would get the Virgin if you're interested in this book, but this has gone up a lot. I dilly-dallied, and I hesitated, and I didn't get this book, and I even mentioned it in a book that I would recommend getting a while back, several months ago. I had a video on this. But this has got Marchion Ro on the cover, and I believe this might be his first cover appearance in comics. I can't remember. It's either this or a High Republic Adventures #4. I can't remember which, but this is his most epic cover, my favorite cover. And it's a very limited print run, and it sold for $169 on February 22nd. That's up a lot. That's probably up about 30% from where it had been selling, around $125. So again, the market is saying that, okay, if this live action show happens, who's going to be the main villains? Well, clearly Marchion Ro, who's the leader of the Nihil, the space pirate group, terroristic space pirates, he's a very likely source, and we're going to cover him more in more detail about some less expensive options. The other main villain that could probably and most likely will happen to show up is Darth Krall. He's the first Sith Lord within the High Republic era to make his appearance so far in terms of canon. And his first comic book appearance is in High Republic issue #7. There's a Mike Mayhew exclusive that is very nice. There's 3 different ones. There's this Shadow variant, which is cover C. There's a cover B, which is not as dark and also a virgin cover. And then there's a cover A, which has the trade dress. I've got cover A and B, but this is the C. I like the cover B the best. Cover C is probably #2. I don't have that one. But $210 is what that price. That's gone up a lot. This is the trade dress version, the cover A. I've got this one. And there's one still available right now. One has sold $180. That's double what I paid for it. Double. So that's gone up quite a bit. since this news about the live action show kind of being green lit has hit the internet. So that's, I mean, that's literally doubled in price from what I bought it for less than 6 months ago. For that same book, there's also some other covers. There is this one, the High Republic #7 John Tyler Christopher action figure variant. That's for Keith Trennis. I could see this book continuing to go up. I don't particularly like it that much. It's kind of a goofy looking book to me. I don't particularly like that card art for Keith Trennis. I've seen better card art for her, or comic book cover art that they could have used, but that's what they went with. That one sold for $113, $114 after shipping. I think there's better options. I think if you're going to spend $114, I'd rather get, you know, one of these other covers of Mike Mayhew, or get the second print of issue #7. So this is the second print, and that actually has Darth Krall on the cover. It's a really nice cover that has the Drengir, it has Keith Trennis, and it has Darth Krall on the cover. This is the second printing for High Republic #7. I don't have this book. I missed out when it originally went on sale, and I wish I had bought it now. But that one sold for $50 plus $14 shipping, so let's call it $64. I can promise you that when another one of these hits, I'm going to buy it. So I would definitely recommend this one, because I would rather have this one over the John Tyler Christopher action figure variant, because it's got Darth Krall on the cover, and this is his first appearance comic. So that's a really nice book to have, I think. And I bet the CGC ratio is a lot lower. It's a lot lower for that one. Okay, so that's the High Republic books that I'd recommend. One, you can look at #3, which is the first appearance of the Drengir. I think it's #3, or #7, which is Darth Krall's first appearance. Now, High Republic Adventures, which is by IDW, you can see there in the upper left-hand corner. This is the first cameo appearance of Marchion Ro, the villain that we saw on the Will Sliney cover. And this is another one I've talked about in past videos. It's got a really nice Yoda cover for the 1:10 ratio variant cover. So this is the incentive cover, and for every 10 of the standard comic cover, one of these has been made. I would recommend this one. This one, it continues to hover around 110 to 120 bucks plus shipping. This one sold for 110 plus $15 shipping, so about 125. That's up a little bit. It went up to 120, then it came down to like 60 or 70, and now it's back up to about 120. So I think it's because of the news, and people know that Marchion Ro at some point is going to be in live action content or potentially a movie. And I picked up one of these. I think I paid $68 for mine, but it's way up now. If you just want the standard, this is the standard cover for High Republic Adventures #2. And this has Lula Talisola, who's a Jedi, on the cover. High Republic Adventures #2 is her first comic book appearance. It's also the first full appearance of Marchion Ro. Now, this is the standard cover. That's still going up. And so people, I think, are ascribing a larger value to #2 versus #1 for Marchion Ro's first full appearance. For whatever reason, the market seems to say they prefer #2 to #1. I don't have this one yet, but that one sold for $103. This one sold for $94 plus $14, so that's $108. So that's gone up a lot. I mean, this was like a $50 book max, you know, a few months ago, and now it's about doubled in price. So I think if you're serious about Marchion Ro, you got to have his first full comic book appearance. I don't have it yet, but I definitely want to get this one. This is the better book, though. I think given that the price is about the same for the retail incentive cover, for issue #2, this is the one I would get. It's got, you know, I can't remember his name now, but it's got a Jedi within one of the Starcraft that's fighting the Nihil. But this is the incentive cover. They've sold for 120 bucks, so about 10 bucks more gets you the much more rare 1:10 cover. It doesn't have Lula Talisola on the cover like the standard cover does, but this is a much more rare book. So either one of those is a good pick. Me personally, I'm probably going to go after the incentive cover. Here's another one that sold. This one sold for $165. That's a big number, $165. I wouldn't pay that much. I'd pay, you know, 110, 120, somewhere in that ballpark. The other one that I've talked about in the past for High Republic Adventures is issue #6. There are a bunch of first appearances in this one. Ty Boda, who's a very powerful Jedi. You got Geode, the Navigator Rock. You have Leox Giassi. You've got, I can't remember her name. There's her shipmate. her name is Affie Hollow is her name, Affie Hollow. So there's like 3 or 4 big first appearances in High Republic Adventures #6. A lot of those folks show up in the books in a big way, especially the latest book. So this is another one I look at. There's 3 different covers for this one. There's the standard cover, there's the retail incentive cover, and then there's the SDCC exclusive cover, which I showed you in an unboxing. I've got 2 of those. So you're probably going to pay $120-ish for the standard cover, $150-ish for the 1 in 10 retail incentive cover, and then the SDCC exclusive, I've seen it sell anywhere from $250 to $500. So a pretty wide range on those, just because they haven't been, not many of them have been graded yet. But that's another good idea. Now, if you want some cheaper options, here's a couple of other cheaper options that most people aren't talking about yet, but I really think that you should look at these. The first one is the Monster of Temple Peak, issue #1. This is the first full comic book appearance of Ty Yorrick. She is an awesome character. I can't tell you how cool she is within the books. She's like a monster hunter. And, you know, if they really truly have Stranger Things as kind of the theme for this live action show, Ty Yorrick is going to show up. She is the monster expert, and they're going to be fighting a space monster. I guarantee you that she's going to show up, and this book will be $200 because it didn't have a huge print run. It's not like, you know, High Republic #1 where it had a huge print run. This one just sold for $50 shipped. So I would buy these. I've got like 5 of these at CGC right now, and I'm telling you that this book is going to go up in value. So if you can get it for this cheap, like this one sold for $31 plus $16 shipping, that is a steal. I would buy that in a heartbeat because she's an awesome character. She's a really, really cool, reluctant hero, kind of a mercenary, kind of a bodyguard / monster hunter. And if they're talking about this Stranger Things in space theme for this High Republic young adult show, she's going to be a big part of it. Finally, I wanted to point out this one. This is another book that I bought a bunch of, and I'm going to send in to get graded eventually. That's Eye of the Storm. This is a spin-off book. It's a 4-issue spin-off that I've covered at length in past videos, but this is the origin story for Marchion Ro. There are 3 different covers. There's a cover A, a variant edition, and then a retailer incentive edition. This was the variant edition. And it's a great cover, epic cover. There's another one of him kind of standing on top of a cliff, and then there's another one of him surrounded by the Nihil. They're all kind of, he's like the leader of the Nihil. This one sold for $70, best offer accepted, plus $10 shipping. The cover A or the cover B, in my opinion, are better than the retail incentive in terms of the aesthetics. I don't like the aesthetics of the cover of the retail incentive edition personally. That's just my personal opinion. So, me personally, I'd go for cover A and or cover B, and they're cheap right now. And Marchion Ro is a really, really cool villain who is not like just a straight up evil bad guy. He's got a very complicated backstory, is all I'll say to it. And I think that he is a great villain that has a lot of potential in terms of depth. And his origin story is kind of like a nice ancillary book to have in your collection, whether you get them raw or not. They're still really cheap. You can probably get it for face value right now, raw. So, but I would definitely pick up some of those. I picked up 3 of the cover A and 3 of the cover of the variant cover. This one here, raw. They're all near mint. I'm going to send them in to get slabbed. So, but anyway, I just wanted to cover this news. I think it's interesting information, and I hope that they do a good job with this show, because if it's anything like Stranger Things, it's going to be really cool. And I hope that it turns out to be as good as I think it will. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back soon.